There was once a musician. He was famous. He played the lute better than anyone in the kingdom. People traveled for weeks just to hear him play. He was invited to play for the king. This was the highest honor. The musician prepared for months. He composed a new piece. He wrote down every single note. He practiced it thousands of times. His fingers knew the music better than his mind did. He was ready. The night of the performance arrived. The great hall was filled with nobles. The king sat on his throne. Candles flickered everywhere. The musician walked to the center of the room. He bowed. He sat down. He placed his hands on the lute, and his mind went blank. He looked at the sheet music in front of him. The notes were there. He saw them, but they made no sense. They were just black dots on a page. He tried to remember the first chord. Nothing. He tried to move his fingers. They were frozen. Panic flooded him. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The silence in the hall grew heavy. People began to whisper. The king frowned. The musician closed his eyes. He was going to fail. He was going to be humiliated. He was going to be thrown out. Then, in the darkness behind his eyes, he heard a voice. It was his old teacher, long dead. He had said years ago, when you lose the notes, find the silence. The musician let go. He stopped trying to remember. He stopped trying to be perfect. He let his hands rest on the strings. He felt the wood. He felt his breath. And then, without thinking, his fingers moved. They played a note, then another. It was not the piece he had written. It was something new. It came from nowhere. It came from everywhere. It was sad and joyful and wild and gentle. It was the sound of a man letting go. The hall was spellbound. The king leaned forward. Tears ran down the cheeks of the nobles. The musician played from his heart for the first time in his life. When he finished, there was a long, perfect silence. Then the hall erupted. Cheers, tears. The king stood and applauded. Later, the king asked him, "That was the most beautiful thing I have ever heard. Where did it come from?" The musician thought. "From forgetting," he said. "I forgot the notes. And I found the song." He went to find his old teacher's grave. He sat there and whispered, "You were right. The notes were the cage. The silence was the song. We are the musician. We try so hard to get it right. We memorize the script. We follow the rules. We stick to the plan. And then, when the plan fails, we think it's over. But sometimes, the plan has to fail. Sometimes, you have to forget the notes. You have to stop trying. You have to get out of your own way. That is where the magic lives. Not in the perfect execution, but in the moment you let go. The silence is not empty. It is full of music. You just have to be quiet enough to hear it.